Morning, YouTube. Denise LaFrance, the painter here. It's Monday, and I just saw a new channel with the lady Michelle. It's called Michelle Breaking the Chain, her station. And she was, in one video I just saw, reiterating a time when her narc mother ignored an ear infection after having rushed the golden child brother to the doctor when he had had an ear infection just a week or so previous. She had one, was accused of being a drama queen and making the whole thing up for attention. When the daughter woke her up to mother up to take her to the doctor, sent her back to bed, and sent her to school the next day. And not until her eardrum ruptured and the blood poured out was the mother called, and then the mother takes her to the hospital because there's witnesses now, huh? And yeah, ruptured eardrum from an ear infection. And now the poor lady, all these years later, now she's deaf in one ear, partially deaf, because of her mother's incompetence and sadism and disregard for her appointed family scapegoat. And these instances of narcs disregarding the health issues of the scapegoat versus how they treat the golden children reminds me of something that happened to me. So here's my second video telling some of my narc infestation history of abuse. It was 1977, and I was 12 years old, and I had severe pains in my abdomen, really bad pains on the right side. And I was told, stop your belly aching, make complaining, probably something you ate, blah, blah, blah. And it got so bad, finally, she takes me to the doctor, and I'm rushed into emergency, and turns out my appendix ruptured. And they did an appendectomy of the ruptured appendix. And I spent the time in the hospital, okay? Then I was sent home, and the next day, I did what is a bad habit of mine. I try not to do it, but every now and then I'll hold in a sneeze. Have you ever done that? Like that pressure is internalized. I don't know why, but sometimes I do it. One morning I did it. That morning after I come home, after the hospital stay, and I felt quite a bit of something going on in there, a pain, a weird, sharp pain that was increasing as the day progressed. I was home. My mother went to work, worked at Walker's Van and Storage on the highway. And I kept calling her at work. It's bad. It's bad. You know, I'll be home at dinner time. Just lay down. Put some ice on it. Take an aspirin. Anyways, dinner time comes around, and it's just now. It's turned into a generalized, nonstop, dull pain. It's not as sharp as it was before. And I'm in my long nightgown, walking around the house all day like that. I'm home from school. And after dinner, she makes or receives a phone call. My golden child brother Richard's on the phone from university. And she's chatting with him, And I go to the bathroom, go to take a piss, right? Lift my nightgown up, and I scream because what I see is the abdomen is not flat like it should be. It's going out in the shape like a volcano, okay? Like almost like this rather than not like this, okay? Sideways view. The gauze taped over the incision is now sticking out at the end of the volcano shape, and all around it is black and then radiating out blue and red, and I am freaking screaming, run to the kitchen, lift my nightgown, show my mother. She'd calmly, Denise, I'm long distance with Richard at university. I am talking to Richard. Will you go? Go. Get away. She commences the conversation as I'm sent like traumatized away, sitting on my bed, freaking. It was around dinner time. She eventually comes in and looks. Oh, great. Now I got to shovel the drive. She shovels the drive because it's winter and we're way up north. Takes the Volvo. Puts me in this Volvo. She doesn't call emergency. Doesn't call an ambulance. Gets me dressed. Puts me in the Volvo. I'm laying in the back seat. Bumpity bump down the back road. This is an isolated town in the middle of nowhere. Dead of winter. Really cold. And bumpity bump down the road to the hospital. And I'm brought in and seen to, of course, immediately by one Dr. Park. And later discover, well, according to the narc, which is probably true, because I heard her telling my father, overheard her, she could smell booze on his breath. At any rate, he was alone there, the only guy there was no nurse, no nothing in there. For some reason, she's in the emergency operating room. She's in there with me. Like, that's not even right. That's incorrect to do. Whatever. I'm laying down. She is holding my head down. I'm laying flat. I'm laying down. There's my feet. Here's my head. She's standing here. She's holding my head for him. Because I'm freaking out. Because he's put a needle in there, yes, to freeze the area. And he's cutting me, but it hasn't frozen. I can feel it, and I'm screaming. She's holding my screaming head down, telling me, stop it. Just stop it. Behave. Behave yourself. You're bothering the doctor. And I guess at some point, either because I'm sweating profusely from like fucking being operated on while awake, yes, or she's just like for fun, does it on purpose, I don't know. But at some point, she let my head go. Or maybe she couldn't hold it because I'm so strongly trying to get it up. Freaking. And I see my guts. I see my guts. I see my incised guts. He's got this scissor clamp with the gauze, and he's soaking up blood, and there's blood, and there's my, and this, and he's got an instrument, and he's making all new holes, and then with the black thread, and then he sends me home. Directly after that, and I remember shaking. They had a wheelchair to bring me out to the car, shaking, and she was mad that he wouldn't even lend us an ice pack. I remember her saying that when she was telling Dad, wouldn't even lend us an ice pack. Apparently, from my holding my sneeze in, I had ruptured the interior cat gut stitches. That's what she said, cat gut. She must be allergic to cat gut. And I was bleeding. Essentially, I was bleeding internally. And he does that, and I see that, and the whole thing's ridiculous. The scar's a mess. The initial scar to take, I can't just blame him. The doctor who first operated on me did a vertical scar. Who does a vertical scar for an appendectomy? It's to the right. It's usually a horizontal scar on the right-hand side where the appendix is. Almost directly under my belly button, there's a vertical scar, and I'll take a picture of it if you need proof. It's a horrendous, messy scar shaped like a sideways canoe with like these, you can see, it's a horrible thing. By this doctor, incompetent boob, and whoever did the initial scar, he just reoperated and made a big hacking mess, I might add. It's about this wide, and it's like this long, and it's a mess. And she let that happen. She let that happen. And she didn't take me in an ambulance. She drove. I think coming back, I was brought back in an ambulance from the hospital. I don't remember. It's all a blur. I remember shaking and feeling like I was cold. That's called going into shock. And that happened at the hands of a narc. Yeah. True story. If that was my brother, she would have rushed. And there would have been an appendix, and she would have been, an ambulance, and she would have been freaking out. But it was me, and I was to shut the fuck up while she's on the phone, long distance to Richard. And let the thing burst in the first place. Yeah. Why we're enraged. A big part of it is because if this had happened to a stranger, people would be in jail. And this narc idiot should have sued the doctor. Didn't want to make a fuss. So many things she didn't want to make a fuss about. This is one of many, Don't want to, what are the neighbors going to think? Part of the problem is they deserve to be punished. They should be in prison. And the subsequent homicidal rage they inspire in us, I swear. It's hard to keep a lid on that. They inspire that. Get over it. Forgive. Water under the bridge. Move on. My golden child brother told me that. By the way. Yeah, that really helps. That really helps. Thanks, narc, and your incompetent doctor friend,